Hi friends, so today I'll show you and teach you about how to approach level design for a Parker based game or any game which has such movements, or in general any uh, prototyping for your levels and how to approach it. Basically, for it is mainly for game designers, programmers, not basically for level designers. Of course, they know it better than me, but all these things that I'm going to show you and tell you what you need to do is uh, I've gathered this information from lots of GDC talks, lots of forums, talking to lots of people in the industry, and from my fellow colleagues that I used to work with who are level designers and taught me many of this stuff, which I'm going to share with you today. So my game is parkour based. It has various parkour mechanics. All right, and some of my AI can do parkour, and most of them cannot do parkour. So, firstly, for any level design, what you have to do is get the objective. What do you want the objective to be? What you want your player to feel, and what is the core of your game? As here we can see that my game is parkour based. So yeah, there should be parkour able objects, not like the new Assassin's Creed where you have parkour but you actually don't have anything to parkour on. So that is one of the most important things, that you should know what your game is and what it requires for level designing. Secondly, what are the limitations of the player and what are the limitations of the AI as well. So let's take this centerpiece for example. I'll show you what this whole level is, but let's see this centerpiece. So as you can see, this is a pedestal and there is a statue over the pedestal, and I've divided the pedestal in three parts going narrow, how basically they are. So here my character can parkour and chain the parkour. We do have a mechanic where we can chain the parkour if we hit the parkour button at a perfect time. So the timing is quite important in our game. So yeah, timing and distance to the uh, parkourable object. Okay, depending on how far you are, character will do a certain types of parkour maneuvers, which will either take you a lot of time to get up or very less time to get up. So this game is basically about carrying momentum and stuff. So as you can see, I do have parkourable objects, but also I have these ramps. All right, and I have laid ramps for each level. As you can see, this one is for the ground, this one is for the second, and this one is for the third, the last one. So why have I added this? This is so that my AI can get up. All right now they are just boxes, but later on there will be some wooden planks replaced by the actual assets. So this is the basic approach that you will have to take, and I am taking uh, during designing this level, that I need to make every POI, means point of interest, or every single object or location that there is in my game to be designed in such a way where my player can easily get up using their own abilities. Like my player has an advantage, quote unquote advantage, of having the parkour abilities, like she can parkour. So there should be an option for my player to get from point A to B through parkour, and also without parkour. Why without parkour? Because I have my AI which cannot do parkour, and also there will be players who might not be that uh, good with parkour, right? And also I need to make design the level in such a way that it should also cater to advanced players who can decode the whole system and have trained good muscle memory. so they can go in depth with the mechanics and press correct buttons at correct times to do special maneuvers which are very difficult to pull off. All right, so my game is basically inspired by Apex Legends and Doom Eternal and a few other parkour games and third person shooter games. This is basically a high speed combat game, like what do you say that, um, fast paced combat game. All right, this is a fast paced action combat game. So let's get started. So firstly, this is a space based kind of stuff. Okay, location. This map is quite big. uh, I'm trying to make an arena shooter. Okay, so this is not an like open world game or something like that, but kind of an arena shooter. So each level will be like a small semi open world level. So this is one of the main levels, which is where the boss fight might happen, or like one of the bigger areas where my player will fight the enemies. Usually they will be smaller, like just these two buildings or this one building or these buildings or combinations, but uh, for now I have just for demonstration I have created a bigger map. So I'll show you everything. So this is basically a space base. So this is kind of a garage. This is a landing area for flying cars or like some advanced spacecrafts which can be tall, vertical, left and landing. This is kind of a staying or chilling area. This is a laboratory which have been attacked and broken at times. As you can see, there is broken in places. As you can see, there is a car which is crashed into it. There is a helipad here, and there are other places where the pilots and people can stay. All right, so I'll show you. This is parking area. There is a garage here. Okay, so let's start with the garage and we'll move from one building to another in such a way and then come back to the garage. So let's see how I've approached it. So for each and every building, I've treated it as a single entity, all right, which then is beside another single entity and is connected in some or other way. All right, probably sometimes it is connected literally physically, or is connected through links and jumpable distance. All right, so in this way each of my building can act like an individual entity or an individual asset which can be modular and be placed in any other level. So firstly, this is the garage and how have I approached it. This will only the garage itself will tell you like how I'm going through the level designing. So firstly, as you can see, there are ramps for the vehicles to get up. One here and another one here. I have also if you notice, I have created lots of open spaces because there will be lots of enemies and reading should be a key, and my game is fast paced. As you can see, she can run quite fast. All right, and there are parkourable stuff, so and also she can slide. Right now it is very clunky looking, but yeah, so for fast pace you do need space to move, right? So there are open spaces like here and here, all right, where the combat can take place and stuff. But with that also I have placed cards and other objects which can be advantages for player to get from one location to another easily, avoid enemies. All right, because some of my enemies cannot most of my enemies cannot do parkour, so for them to come from this location to this location they have to use all these feet area, but I can just do this, get on top of cars and go. All right, so for each and every building or location, I have created more than one entry exit points. Okay, so as you can see, this is one and this is the second one, and this can also be counted as an entry exit. All right, and so is this. But for my AI, this area, this and the staircase are the only options which can get them in and out for non-parkourable agents. But since my player can do parkour, such platforms are good for her, good for my player, where it is kind of exclusive for my player and some of my parkourable uh, enemies. So as you have uh, this gallery, or what do you call this balcony, similarly I have this broken piece as well, this kind of a window stuff. All right, another one will be this smaller window, which is exclusive for player. By exclusive I mean other AIs cannot operate this, because there is no link for them to come around, and they are like they cannot parkour, most of them. So keep that in mind, that there should be common places or common entry exit points which your AI can use, but there should be exclusive points which your players can use them exclusively. Like your AIs cannot have that advantage, and your player will have that advantage. So this is the ground floor. So since my AI can only go through ramps and not do parkour, my player have the ability to get up from here, whereas my AI will have to go from this ramp. All right, so that's it for the ground floor. Let's move on to the second floor. So to go to the second floor, second, first, or whatever you want to call it, I have these stairs and we go up. Here is kind of a rooftop cafe. All right, where I can parkour on any object. So in my game, basically you can parkour on any single object which you think is parkourable, then yeah, it is parkourable. She can parkour up it. So again, here as you can see, there are entry exit points helping the player exclusively. So this staircase are one of the ways to get up. Another entry exit point is this ramp, which is basically this roof, but just it is broken. All right, so there are two ways my AI can get up here, through the staircase or through this ramp. All right, but for my player, there are some exclusive places, like these boxes. As you can see, my player can get up using these boxes or these boxes. Yeah, it is very easy for the player to get up, whereas all my AI have to come from here, then come from this the staircase and all. All right, again, since my player can double jump, I can get up this car, look here, and double jump up. It is very tricky to pull off, but advanced players can do. Oh yeah, I'm not good at my own game. Sorry. So yeah, as you can see, for each and every place, okay, each and every location, I have set some rules, which are, it has to be quite open for combat to take place and enemies to be around, okay, so that it doesn't get quite junky, and my player does have place to move. There are more than one entry exit points. All right, and there are special entry exit points which are exclusive for player due to their abilities. So that is one of the things. Second, combining architecture to one another without joining or with joining. them physically. So as you can see, these are like some unfinished living areas. All right, so due to load, these are unfinished, as in these are supposed to be like mini hotel rooms, or double floored hotel rooms, but these are unfinished. So my player can just go from here to here with one jump, and so can some of my AI, but not all of them. So yeah, with a single jump, I came from there to here. Now my non-parkourable AIs have to go down from these routes and then go all the way here. Whereas what my player can do is just get here and just get here within a few seconds. So you need to design your game in such a way for parkour that there are multiple ways to get from one point to another. All right, which will help your player to get from one location to another very quickly. But you need to be careful that expert players will exploit it. Okay, so for some places you need to restrict, and for restrict the movement. By movement I mean restrict the access by adding blocked areas and stuff, walls blocking it, or you can add or in some places you deliberately want to have these options. Okay, so as you can see, this level design is heavily inspired by Apex Legends, where you can actually go from one location to another very easily and make fool of your enemies quite easily. So yeah, so moving on from this garage, as you can see, even for this simple staircase, I don't just have this option to get up, I also have this option to go up. So let's say my player is here, I don't want my player to go all the way there to the staircase and then get up. My player can just do this and get up, whereas my enemy AIs have to go from here and my player can just come from here. So these are the small places where the player advantages really matter and can make huge changes to your game and make your game actually fun. So well, this is for the this game is offline, all right, but for online games you need to balance it out, as in you need to make it equal for every player. All right, so yeah, that is one. Second is these living places. Then next, as I told you, this is some place where the flying cars or something like that will land. Okay, they can land around here. There is an elevator which is uh, out of service. There is a guard's checkpoint, and then there is this cafe. All right, so even to get up here, okay, to the highest point in the map, you have this ramp which goes from uh, this garage. Then there is this ramp which goes from the ground floor, and then there is this ramp which goes from the cafeteria area. All right, so you need to uh, as I said, you need to have many entry exit points. And second thing that I want to tell you with this is that connecting different entities with each other. By entities I mean architecture, like this, as in this is its own individual object, this building, but I have connected it with this using these ramps. But no, you don't have to do this every time. Let's say these objects are quite small and quite close to each other, then you don't need to connect them because they are almost same height, correct? So you don't quite have to connect them, but for these bigger objects it's better if you connect them. Adds more dynamic and adds more way of navigation. So as you can see, there is some broken pieces from where I can just jump off. There are these fences where my player can parkour off of, but my AI cannot. So they do have to use the ramp, but I do not have to use the ramp since I can do parkour stuff. So yeah. So secondly, there is another cafeteria for these pilots, which is a little bit generic, and that one is a little bit more fancy. Adds a little bit of storytelling. Then there is these objects which are basically goods and stuff. There are many trucks because yeah, there are goods and stuff, so obviously you need trucks to get them. So you also need to have some storytelling in your level design. So yeah, so let's move on to the next building. Yeah, so this is some kind of chilling area or facility. I don't know what this will be. I have not decided yet. But again, here you can see there are multiple ways of getting up. This is one. Then there is this. There are these ramps which are helpful for the AI to get up. Also, there is this staircase. Then there is this window which is exclusive for the player. Well, this area is quite open, but still, these blocked walls actually make good cover. Let's say you have lots of enemies here, you can just come around here and have a good cover for yourself. There are broken walls, broken pieces of this walls, which create good entry exit points. I'm focusing more on entry exit of every location because since this game is heavily based on movement, so why do you want to use movement? You would want to use movement to get from one location to another, and it is good to have many places from where you can go from one place to another, many paths connecting each other, which really creates a good dynamic for you and also for the AIs, which won't make clutter. Like let's say if I only had this door, then all of my AI will have to come from this door, and this door will be very cluttered, and you don't want that. You want your AIs or other players and everyone to come from any angle as possible, every angle as everywhere. Okay, each and every possible angle. All right, so this is mirroring this, but it also has some extra parkourable objects to create a good dynamic. Then this is quite symmetrical. There are two staircases to go up, and once you are up, there are two staircases to go up again. So as you can see, there is one here, there is another one here, but again you need to create more advanced options for your more advanced players to get up. So for a normal player, these are the options, but if you are an advanced player, you can you can decode and use this pillars to get up as well. By decode, I mean you can analyze the environment very nicely and use this pillar as well, which will pass through a regular player's eyes, but for an advanced player, or if you are replaying the game second time or third time, it adds to its replayability, that you can uh, do stuff on other places as well, which are really difficult to spot on your first playthrough. All right, so again, just like the cafeteria and garage building, I have these places again here, these resting areas, the small houses, rooms, okay, which I have reused. And as you can see, there is a simple design language in my game, which is circles and rectangles. Well, basically for this level, but I can use other shape and design languages for other levels as well. So let's move on to the next area. As you can see, there are quite open spaces as well, which create a good dynamic. All right, so as you can see, these places, these buildings are very congested and have lot of things going on. All right, but there are open places as well, okay, where you can have open fights, but again, it is like to the player how it goes, right? If they want to have lots of cover, or if they want to have an open fight with the AIs using their abilities. So you really need to uh, create such dynamics. And again, these two things, open areas and closed quarter areas, okay, these can vary from your game to game. Some games might be favored with congested areas only, and some games might be favored with open areas only. All right, but it's really good to have the dynamic between places. All right, so one more thing you need to have in mind while creating levels for your parkour based games is how far can your player do a parkourable move. Okay, uh, how much distance do they cover? Because the reason I'm saying this is I have this ability. When you're on edge and you press parkour down, she can just propel herself forward, okay, but again, if you do it at a perfect time and speed, she will, okay, some glitch happened. If you do that at a perfect time and place, she can do different moves, and there is one where she pushes herself forward. It is quite difficult to achieve, but I'll try. Yeah, as you can see, she can push herself forward. So let's say I had something here, okay, another building with that much distance. It will be very fun to go from here to here very easily using things that my player can do specifically, okay, but my AI cannot. So you really need to design your game in such a way using these abilities as well, and having those distances in your mind. So let's say here, if I do that, do you understand what I'm talking about? Like, this can make, this can have advantages, okay. Let's say this was I went from same floor to the same floor, right? But let's say this was another floor, and I could easily like push myself forward to another floor using that technique, right? So you really need to have those things in your mind as well. As you can see from here, I can go inside this window very easily if I am a little bit good at my own game. So yeah, again, this is a building connected to the laboratory and is uh, broken because this truck crashed into it. All right, and again, this is another good example of making stuff for parkour games, which is have multiple ways of going from one place to another. As you can see, there are two doors to go from one place to another, but again, I have this small area as well. All right, and Now to go to the second floor, I have two ramps, this one and this one, which I can go from here as well, or my player can parkour up. Alright, this ramp, also this ramp. But with these ramps, I also have these boxes placed. Okay, some glitch happened. I also have these boxes placed right here. Oh, get up, please. Yeah, which help her get up. Then I have one here, which can also be used as like this. I can add some here as well. Okay, but right now I haven't, because this truck is also a good object to get up. As you can see, even these things are possible. So you really need to check what is possible in your game and then design your level accordingly. All right. So one of the major takes is to make design your level in such a way that getting from one location to another is quite easy for the player and does create an advantage. All right, let's move on to the laboratory area. So this laboratory area is quite opposite to all of these areas, because these areas are quite open. Okay, even though there are indoor congested places, they are not as congested as this laboratory. As you can see, it is quite congested and will be difficult for another players or another or the other AIs to fight with. Okay, so this can be only used in places where I have AIs which are same size as my player. Okay, and not like huge gigantic enemies, because if I do have gigantic enemies, they cannot get inside. Okay, and my player can exploit it by being inside. So you have to keep that in mind as well, sizes of your enemies and which enemies are you using and where. So yeah, let's go to the actual front entrance of this building. So now we are at the front entrance. Okay, and I'll show you how I have designed it. So this is the typical entrance, but also you can get in through these windows. So this one is quite easy to get in, but this is quite tricky, because yeah, you need to double jump and time your stuff accordingly. Then there is this area, you can go in. Then again there are two areas, which is this one and this window as well, which can be used. So once you are inside, there are multiple ways to get up, one of which is quite hidden. So like, let's say you get here, you turn, you jump without going forward, you jump, then you double jump, then you get up. So these are the things that I was talking about, which are actually quite fun for advanced players, because they can advanced players or players who have played your game over and over, and does provide replayability to analyze more stuff of your game. All right, so this is blocked. This area I have already shown you. Then we have this room, and this is kind of a clean room which is broken right now. Then we have this area. So even inside the building, I have again I have added many entry and exit points to the rooms itself as well. Then you have these small, what do you call that, small valleys, no, not valleys, but small corridors, so small corridors. Then this is one of the ways to get up these stairs, and the other one is ramp. These ramps are basically for my AI, which cannot do parkour, for them to get up. Once they are up, there are other two ways to get up on this floor, which are these ramps and this staircase. Also, again, there is another hidden way to get up, which is get up here. Then you can, okay, oh, okay, I have a special dash ability by which you can get up here. Yeah. So even those small things can help your player to get up. So another way is to, just like that area, you come up here, leave your button, forward button, then double jump, and then get up. So yeah, you really need to think about those scenarios as well, which can be complex to get up, but at the same time is very fun. All right. So yeah, this is another area. So let's move on to the next one. All right, so we get out of here, and now you have your helipad here. So this is another way of getting up, which is the staircase. Okay, this is for my AI basically, which cannot parkour. Then we have the helipad here. This is another quite open area to do combat, but also a nice mini parkourable area, which can be advantageous for player as well. Then we have our parking places, and then again we come to this garage. So that's how I have approached my level designing for this game. And as you can see, I have had a few rules set while designing the level, which are more than one entry exit points, at least two special entry exit points for my player, and having open spaces as well as close combat places, and connection of different architecture with another architecture. Okay, may it be without physical connection or with physical connections. So yeah, so let me know if I am doing things right or I am doing things wrong, and is there a better way to approach these levels. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll meet you next time in next video. And if you have any other questions or any other suggestions about how I can improve, or what am I doing wrong, or what am I doing right in this game, okay, or if this video has any way helped you, so let me know. The reason I'm making this video is, when I was trying to design a level for my game, and as a solo developer, I really didn't find any great videos which can tell me about having an approach towards making a parkour based level, or an free semi open world parkour level for combat as well. So because of that reason, once I have achieved the level and designed it, I thought it might be a good idea to share this info with you guys and help some fellow developers which are struggling with it. So if you are a struggling solo developer and this video helps you, let me know in the comments below. Or if you are an advanced level designer and you see some flaws or you see some good science in this video game design, then do let me know that also in comments below. So yeah, until then, bye bye and see you next time.